Today we are doing front brakes and rotors on this 2014 535i. But first, we need to take off the wheel. I've already taken off 4. One more. And you can see why we need to change the rotors. Alright, let's take it off. Before we can take the caliper and the bracket off, we need to take off this little bracket. And to do so, all I did was push out like this, and it will pop out. I'll show it on the next one. This is what that piece looks like. Alright, so the first thing we need to do to take off the caliper is to take off these little caps, which will reveal most likely in Allen bolts that we need to take out, or loosen actually, not completely take out. We do that one there. There's revealing the Allen socket we need to use, and then one more on top. Just the same process to take it out with a flathead. It will make it easier. These 2 Allen bolts are a size 7. Then you just got a lefty-loosey. And then it should come out like that. And then you do that to the top one as well. Right there. Now that we have these 2 Allen bolts loosened, we need to take off the bracket because the caliper won't come out without the bracket. But we need to take it off anyway for the rotor. So it looks like these may be 18 millimeters. So let's take those out now. You will most likely need to use a breaker bar to break it loose, and then we can switch back to these 1/2" ratchet. So let's break it loose. There's that one. And now let's get the top one. Okay, that's broken loose. Now we can switch back to this one to get it out a lot quicker. There's one of them. Now we need to do the same thing to the top. Then once you get the caliper out, just be careful. Or sorry, once you get the bracket out, be careful, because this can fall out since we took it out. We took the bolts out before, so it will be free. So just be careful, it might fall. And then we have our brakes, which we can take out. Here's one, and here's the outside. Pretty low, both pretty low, but it looks like it was worn uneven. So there's our caliper and bracket, and now to take out the rotor, we need to take out this Allen bolt. That's like a locker for the rotor, and then if it still doesn't come out once that's out, we need to spray some penetrant oil around here and bang it out with a hammer. That's the only way it'll come out if it's stuck. So now, this Allen is a 6 millimeter, so we gotta put this in here and then tap it a little bit. So it's, you know it's in there. And you don't strip that, because you don't want to strip these. And that's lefty righty tighty. We need to go lefty loosey. And then, just for safety, in case it does fall, let's put one back in. One bolt. And we also have to keep this as well as the bracket bolts, so don't lose these. So now, with this penetrant oil, we can put it onto the rotor and smack it off. Grab your hammer and alright, there's one rotor, and now we have to do the other side. So I have put the backing part of the brake back in so we can push this piston back for when we put the new brakes in. And to push it back, we need to use a tool like this, which when we turn this handle, it'll expand or narrow, make this more narrow. And we want to make this expand so it makes this piston wider for the new brakes. So this is how you set it up. And to make this go wider, we need to go righty-tighty. And to make it come in, we have to go lefty-loosey. So we just have to go righty-tighty until the back of this brake comes up to here. And that's when the piston will be all the way back. Basically, it'll go until this can't turn anymore. And once you have it all the way back, you just start loosening it. So lefty-loosey, come on. Lefty-loosey, and it should start coming loose. There we go. And brakes are all the way back. And now we can take out that brake pad. All right, and now we can change it with when the new rotor's in. Here we have the driver's side ready for the new rotor and brakes. And also the passenger side. Okay, so we just received our new rotors, and now we need to open the box and put it on here. And then once we put the new rotors on, we can put on the brakes, which is in that Textar box. This is what the new one looks like. So once we get this back on, we need to put back into the axle. We need to put the Allen on so the rotor stays in place. So we have to line it up to where that hole lines up with that hole. And then we need to put in this bolt, the 6mm Allen bolt. Now, after we put this Allen bolt in, we can put the, the caliper, sorry, not the caliper, the bracket with the brakes on it. And these two bolts are these two bolts that we took out in the beginning. All right, here are our brakes. This is for the piston side, and this is for the front of the rotor. So it'll go on this side, like that. But we need to put the bracket in first. So let's do this. So this is how the bracket looks once we have it in, just hand tight. And we can tighten these up with the ratchet after we get the actual caliper in, because we took it out with the caliper. So we should put it on when it's all back together, if that makes sense. Before I put that part on, I'm going to load up the brakes. So the front side brake will go here, and then the back brakes will go directly onto the piston to start. And also, we need a new brake sensor, so you have to route it to where the old brake sensor is, and then make sure it's not rubbing on anything once everything is back together and tight. So let's do the next step. Here is our brake lube. We put it on both sides of the brakes, not on this part because there's a backing plate that acts as the lube. And here, basically where there's no backing plate, like this. And here. Don't need too much on that piston. Alright, let's put it on now. This is how it should look when you finish. Now that this wheel is done, we just have to do the same thing to the other side. This is what it should look like when you're done putting the caliper and bracket back on. Okay, so now we can put the wheels back on, and then once they're on, we can torque them down to 75 foot-pounds. And the last step for this job is to press the brakes so that the brakes get snug in the actual caliper. Now that the wheels are torqued, we need to press on the brakes. First one will go all the way down, and then the next few will be a little bit more stiff. And that's what we want. Press it a couple times, and we know we're set on the brakes. Now the last step we need to do is tell the car that there are new brakes. So we need to get a scan tool and go into the car's system.